So I've been implementing this new training principle for my legs and my shoulders, which are my two weak areas at the moment, and I've seen some growth. Now, my legs have made some progress. Look, I've not got the biggest legs in the world at all by any means, and in fact they're quite weak in my opinion, but I've seen some progress, which is cool. And the same for my shoulders as well. I've seen a bit of progress. Now I want to share this principle with you so you can implement it and hopefully break through your plateau or start making progress on your weak areas as soon as possible. So in this video you're going to find out what the training principle is, how I would recommend to implement it, and thirdly, the challenge you're going to face when you're trying to implement this. So make sure you watch the whole thing so you can actually apply it properly and get the results that you're after. The training tip is actually very simple, and it is called rest pause training, which you may have come across before. Normally when you do a set, for example you're doing a set of 10 reps of squats, you'll do those 10 reps, then you'll take a 2-minute rest, and then you'll come back and do another 10 reps. However, when you do rest pause training, you'll do those 10 reps, then you'll take a break right after the set, for example 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then you bust out another few reps, maybe just 2 or 3, and that's it. That's simply it. And you can apply that to different exercises as well, for example your isolation exercises. The reason why this works is because it's progressed tension over weeks that causes muscle growth, right? And this often comes in the final few reps of a set. So it's these last 1-2 reps that you're really pushing for that's going to elicit that growth and progression over the weeks. Now when we rest, pause and continue the set, we're basically extending the amount of time that muscle is under tension, which is going to cause very nice muscle growth. As if you think about it, if you get to 10 reps and your body's finished, you can't access that 13 reps without having a pause in between. So it lets you go past failure and really squeeze those reps out, which can really help push muscle growth for you. Now, here's how I would implement it. It is very, very taxing, right, on your central nervous system and physically, so I wouldn't go around just willy-nilly slapping it on every single exercise. What I would do is find a weak points that you've got or plateaus that you're hitting and apply it to those exercises only. So for me, for example, my shoulders and my chest, like I mentioned, that'll be the key areas where I'm applying this training principle at the moment. So right now I'm doing it on a machine squat, for example, a pendulum Smith machine, and I'm doing it on my lateral raises, which can either be the dumbbell or the cables, right? So I'd advise doing it on exercises where reaching failure and having to stop won't result in massive injury risk. So I would stay away from things like a bench press or a deadlift, in my personal opinion, because once you've hit 10 reps on deadlift and you try to pull another 2 reps, it could be very, very taxing on your lower back. You could pull something, you could, slip a disc or something. So I wouldn't advise doing it on those things, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave you a list of exercises what I would apply rest pause training to depending on that weak area. Now, so for these compound exercises, I'd recommend resting maybe 10 to 20 seconds, maybe even less. And for isolation exercises, I'd recommend doing a rest pause for 5 to 10 seconds, okay? And when you're doing these compound exercises, you'll need to get an extra 1-2 reps after the rest pause. You don't need to bang out another 15, right? However, with these isolations, because it's a lot less taxing, you can get those extra 5, 10, 15 reps with just a 10-second pause. So it's very, very effective, okay? So the challenge with this training is actually not the physical side as much as it is the mental side. Once you've done the rest, your body has actually recovered enough to go for those next 3 reps, but those few reps will be very, very challenging. You're going to feel a lot of tension in that muscle. It's going to be very, very painful, right? For example, when I've done those 10 reps, my legs are absolutely finished on the squat, right? It's done out. But I know that there's another few reps to get. And when I go for those reps, it is very, very challenging, okay? But you have to push through and use that willpower and mental fortitude to get those extra reps. And it's the same when doing isolation exercises, right? When I've done, for example, 20 reps of lateral delt, raises, I do my rest pause and I go again. I can literally feel so much blood in my shoulders and I can feel like there's daggers in there, and you still have to keep going, right? It's that mental side. But obviously the cue that I tell myself, which might help you if you're doing this principle, is this: I tell myself that the only reps that count are after the pause, right? So everything I do before then is not going to elicit any muscle growth, but only the reps, those next 3 reps on the squat or the next 10 reps after doing the lateral raises after the pause, they're gonna be the only reps that count. They're gonna be the only reps that are going to elicit muscle growth. And when I tell myself that, it helps me realize, right, this is what I'm here to do, is just to focus on getting those 3 reps. And I promise you, the amount of mental strength and resilience you'll build just from doing this training principle will be killer. And The cool thing is you don't even need to be in the gym as long when you're doing these principles, right? So if you're implementing these, you don't need to do 5-6 sets of them. You only maybe need to do 2 sets of squats or 3 sets of squats and maybe 3 sets of lateral raises, for example, right? You don't need to be overloading with volume because you're pushing each set to very, very good quality. Cool. And that's it. Bye-bye.